Hey guys, so today is the day that the solar eclipse is happening, and instead of driving down to Tennessee or all the way across the country to Oregon, I am here with you guys and I will be talking a little bit about kind of unconventional extracurriculars. And I know you guys are like, what the heck does that mean? Basically, what I mean by that are like extracurriculars that aren't always like school affiliated activities. They're kind of more like you pursue your own adventure kind of activities, you know? So yeah, I'll just be talking a little bit about my own unconventional activities that I've pursued during high school that I'm sure you're kind of familiar with already, and then I'll also be talking about some other ideas for unconventional activities that you guys can pursue if that's of interest to you. Also, just wanted to say a huge thank you to the app Goodwall that contacted me a few weeks ago and is sponsoring this video. Basically, I just downloaded this app last night and I made an account for myself. I don't remember. Oh, here we go. Okay, I'm on level 2 right now. This is, yeah, so this is my profile. I added a picture. Basically, the whole point of this app is that it's kind of like, how do I describe it? It's kind of like a social media community for students all around the world, and you just share like kind of more academic related achievements there, and you get to follow what other kids are doing. And there's also a bunch of colleges and universities right here that are on this app and checking out what you're doing, so you can definitely gain their attention. They also have a bunch of like essay scholarship things, so like this thing, for example, you can win $2,000, and I just thought it was really cool. What's this chat function? Ooh, they have tags. Oh, and they even have like a little inspiration of the day section. Okay, well, yeah. So thank you, Goodwall. Okay, so now let's get into the things that I did in high school that were a bit more unconventional. So first, of course, I did a bunch of creative writing in high school, and it was definitely like an independent activity because I didn't really like do like a creative writing club or anything. Like, of course I was in my school's literary magazine, but that was kind of like different because it was focused on a publication. I mean, just like creative writing just for the sake of creative writing. I guess like getting yourself published is a good way to kind of gain some accolades and like make your work seem legit. But yeah, I did that for most of high school, and I personally consider it like an unconventional activity because like on the Common App, when they have the type of activity, I definitely think I put it under other because there just wasn't really a category that fit it. So yeah, most of the like activities that I'm going to be talking about today are going to be like activities that you'll need to put under other. Alright, so next, you guys also probably know this already, but I did science research in high school, and that was quite a long process of like contacting researchers and professors at a local university. Honestly, I was like very privileged to live in an area that was like really near a couple universities and colleges as well as research labs, so I mean, it wasn't that near, but like if you wanted to drive far enough you could get there. So yeah, I definitely had quite a few opportunities there to contact professors, and so I started working with my lab in the summer before junior year, and then I kept working with them until the end of senior year. Yeah, I like kept working with them for a long time. And because of this whole process, I was actually able to pursue my own project using the lab's resources, and so I was able to submit to Intel, which I have a video up on that. And I also participated in a bunch of science fairs and had a fun time with that. And I also got my research published. The whole process for that actually ended a few months ago, so like an entire year or more after I actually finished writing. Yeah, so research, definitely such a rewarding experience, especially if you like can find something that you really enjoy doing. For me, that was psychology research, but yeah, there's so many different fields that you can end up doing research on, including like humanities fields. Honestly, like you can definitely pursue humanities research. You just like won't be able to submit to like Intel and Siemens and those kinds of competitions, obviously, because they're for science, right? But I think there's definitely other things for humanities research that I'm not thinking of right now, but yeah. Okay. And then the last thing that I'll just talk about as far as my own unconventional activities go is I was an editor for a national literary magazine for high school students. It was called Polyphony HS, and I consider this kind of a more unconventional activity because, like, unlike my school's literary magazine, which I was also an editor for and then became president for, this is kind of like not a school extracurricular. Like, you yourself have to go pursue this activity, and it's definitely different. Like, you're not gonna have as much of an involvement in the actual like formatting of the magazine and like printing it and all of that, but your biggest job is reading submissions and writing feedback to them, and that takes a lot of time in itself, especially considering how many submissions Polyphony gets every year. And that's just due to it becoming a more popular magazine these days. It definitely gets a lot more submissions than like your local high school magazine would. So it's definitely different for every literary magazine that you'll find online, but for Polyphony, there's kind of a process of becoming an editor. So first you're gonna start off in like your trial period, I guess, where you just like read some submissions and write feedback, and then once you get the green light on that, then you'll become a first reader. So that's kind of just like your first position. You're gonna get a lot of submissions, but your only job is to write feedback to that submission. Then once you do that for a bit, you may be promoted to a second reader position, where now you're not only in charge of writing feedback to the submission itself, you're also going to be writing feedback to the first reader's feedback and telling them like if they did a good job or not. And then if you do that for long enough, you may be promoted to a genre editor, which is what I was my last few months there before I graduated high school. Only high school students can edit for this magazine, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, so as a genre editor, it's pretty similar to a second reader, except that you're also writing feedback to the second reader's feedback. So you're writing it to the second reader and the first reader. And the submission itself, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that was the whole Polyphony process. I really enjoyed it. It's a great community for writers that are in high school, and it was really cool because I think a lot of like literary magazines online don't actually print like a physical copy of their magazine, and it's mostly just like online publications. But Polyphony doesn't actually publish its stuff online at all, and they just have the print magazine, and I just think it's really cool to like have your work in print. I don't know, it really doesn't matter, but it makes it seem more exclusive. So yeah, those are like my three main unconventional activities that I pursued outside of like my high school. So I wrote down some other ideas that I've compiled. There's definitely more, but this is like, I think this is a good like starting out point if you're really stuck and don't know what kind of activities you want to pursue outside of school. So first, if you like doing a bunch of art things, I would really recommend turning your art into a business. There's many ways you can do this. A really popular way of doing this is by starting an Etsy store. I'm sure there's other places to sell your work online, but Etsy's done a great job like making it into a really user-friendly platform, in my opinion. Other ways, you can like post online, choose your form of social media. I know Instagram's really popular. Tumblr used to be popular for artists. I don't know if it still is. So post your work, start gaining an online following. I know I'm saying this as if it's like much easier than it really is, but like give yourself some time, gain an online following, and then if enough people really like your work, you can start doing commissions. You can, yeah, I think you can even do commissions through Etsy if you format it in the right way. You can also start a webcomic. I've seen people do that and they've become very successful, and now that girl's at Yale. Another activity, if you're not into art, this one's actually pretty general. Like, a lot of people could probably be into this. Learn a new language by yourself. Like, you're probably already learning a foreign language in school, but try learning a different language, a language that you really want to know, that like, I know a lot of high schools just like limit you to like French, Spanish, and maybe German. Learn a different language that your school doesn't offer. You can do this through a lot of ways. Personally, I would recommend, if you want to get the most out of this experience, definitely just like go at it by yourself. I wouldn't recommend getting whatever like Rosetta Stone or like any of those language learning programs, really. I know they can be helpful, but personally I think the best way to learn a language, if you're not able to actually go to a country that speaks it, is to watch a lot of TV in that language, watch a lot of YouTube videos made by people who speak that language and it's like in that language. Listen to music in that language, watch movies in that language. Just try to really immerse yourself in that language. Of course, at first, none of it will make sense, but the more vocabulary you learn and the more the sentence, like grammar structures make sense to you, the more the media that you consume will make sense to you. Also, it's definitely a very frustrating process, but there's this really cool YouTube channel called Damon and Joe, and if you've never heard of them, go check them out. They're so cool. They do a lot of language learning stuff, and the two people who run it, they both speak so many languages, it's like not even funny. And I guess there just comes a point when you like know so many languages that any new language you try to learn just starts like kind of reminding you of an old language you already know, or like a combination of some of them, so it just becomes like a lot easier to pick it up, I think. Anyway, they do a bunch of cool videos on like learning languages, so check them out. Alright, so if you're into science things and pursuing research is not really your thing, try like making something, you know? So something I wrote down here is like build robot things. I know I probably don't really know much about this, but build robot things, make an app if you're into computer science, build websites, program whatever cool things you want to program. I feel like these days there's so much like hype around those like CS summer camps, like Girls Who Code, or I cannot think of anything else off the top of my head, but like, I don't know, I feel like they're so competitive to get into, and they're also not all that necessary. Like, they're definitely super cool to do, but it's just like, don't worry that much if you can't get into one, because you can totally just like pursue your own projects on your own time, and they can definitely be like very personalized to your own interests. So say for example you're also into like graphic design or something, you can design infographics for like CS concepts, or If you're into writing, you can write articles about some CS topic and like submit it to a STEMmy magazine to get published. There's just a bunch of things you can do. If you're into film or cinematography, you can make films about whatever CS concept you want to do. There's so many ways to like combine your passions and make creative projects that are your own, and I just feel like a lot of times people in high school tend to overlook that possibility and think they need something super structured to do with their time. So yeah, that's really my general takeaway from this video. Don't be afraid to pursue your own independent projects. Don't think of them as a waste of time. If you are able to like do something really significant, like that'll just be so much more impressive to colleges, in my opinion, and that's at the very least. Like, hopefully your goal in doing independent activities is not for college apps in particular, you know? Like, hopefully you're doing this more for yourself, and then as kind of a side effect or as a consequence, you'll have something to talk about in your college apps that's super cool and no one else is doing. So yeah, alright, this video has gone on for way too long, so I'm gonna end it right there. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!